This month we are still not able to come together, but we're still the church even if we can't meet in this building. So I thought that for this month it would be a great time to talk about what the church really is. And so to do that, we're going to talk about everybody's favorite, pizza! So we're going to start with the foundation of the pizza, the crust. Now, during this whole COVID-19 crisis, I've been really struggling to make the best pizza crust ever. So first of all, I was really excited because my sister gave me her bread maker. And I had this recipe that was awesome. So I go to use it. Turns out it's missing a piece. So had to go get like a store-bought crust. It was not nearly as exciting. So anyway, I got the piece from her, and then the stores are all out of yeast because that's one of the things that was going like crazy during this whole crisis. So had to wait. Then eventually I found some, put it in the bread maker, and it didn't work. It didn't mix it. So I still tried to mix it and make it later, but the yeast was not really working the way it should have because of all of the other mishaps. So I ended up with this kind of crumbly, not really fabulous crust. It was rather disappointing. But you know, when you have a pizza with a bad crust, you realize it doesn't matter how much sauce or cheese or whatever wonderful toppings you put on there. A bad crust ruins a pizza before you even start. So, the crust is the beginning of a great pizza. Whether the crust is thin or hand-tossed or pan or thick, without the crust, there's no foundation to put all of your sauce and cheese and toppings that we love. And so just like a pizza needs a good foundation, so does the church. Now, at Easter time, we learned that Jesus died on the cross. 3 days later, he rose from the dead and spent time with his disciples. Jesus told the disciples it was now their mission to tell others about him. Then he ascended to heaven, and so Jesus is the foundation of the church. Everything we believe in the Christian church is based on Jesus. The disciples were amazed. They couldn't believe what they had seen. They were so excited, they started traveling around telling people about Jesus. There were many people who heard the good news of Jesus and believed in him, and these people began the church. The Christian church is not an actual physical building. It is the group of people who believe Jesus died on the cross for their sins. The disciples started the church, and throughout time, more and more people have become a part of it. Our church today is built on the foundation that the disciples laid for us and on Peter's confession that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God. Because people throughout the ages have kept telling others about Jesus, you and I can become part of the church too. The Bible tells us about the first Christians who made up the church. In Acts, it tells us that they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, to the breaking of bread, to fellowship, and to prayer. Now, one person that Jesus chose to start the church was his disciple Simon Peter. His name was Simon, but Jesus changed it to Peter, which means rock, which is another thing that we think about when we think about foundation, because you need something that is solid as a rock. Now, Jesus told Peter he would be part of the foundation of the Christian church based on his confession that Jesus was the Christ, the Son of the living God, and also because he was devoted to God and this new church. If you're devoted, it means that you're loyal and you're dedicated. So friends can show that they're devoted to each other because they might do things like eat with each other at lunch, or maybe they'll stand up for each other when others might be saying things. Fans show that they're loyal to their teams by wearing the colors, or wearing their earrings, or maybe painting their faces, or going to the games. So there's all sorts of things that they do to show that they're devoted to those teams. Now, Peter was devoted to God and the church. And because Peter was devoted to the God and the church, he told people about Jesus everywhere that he went. And so thousands of people joined the Christian church. I'm going to tell you a little story about his life. Hello, boys and girls. Today we have some special helpers today, and they work in the daycare here. So we're going to introduce to you Michaela. Michaela, come on up. Michaela is going to be Peter for us today. And Melissa is going to be a beggar. And she's going to be King Herod, and she's going to be a religious leader, and she's going to be an angel. Okay? Got it? All right. So these guys are going to tell us the story. So this is Peter, an ordinary guy. He wasn't a rocket scientist or a brain surgeon.
What's a rocket surgeon?
Peter was fisherman, just an everyday average guy, but little did he know that God had big plans for him.
Big plans?
Huge plans. One day, Peter was out in his boat fishing when Jesus walked up to him and said, "Come, follow me, and I will make you a fisher of men."
A fisher of men?
"Come and follow me. I'll show you," said Jesus. Peter dropped everything and followed Jesus. Peter was about to learn some incredible things. Jesus would spend the next 3 years teaching Peter about God and about God's amazing love for him. Peter didn't know it yet, but he was about to become part of Jesus' plan to save the world.
I am?
In fact, Peter was such a big part of this plan that Jesus called him the rock the church would be built on.
Wait, they're going to build a church on me? Oh, that's going to hurt.
No, not actually on top of you. You see, Jesus called you the rock because you would become a leader to many people. You would have a great devotion to God and the church.
Wait, I'm a rock star? I get it now. I'm going to be a rock star.
Not quite.
Oh.
Peter was far from perfect. Even after spending 3 years with Jesus and becoming his good friend, Peter ended up turning his back on Jesus when it really mattered.
I blew it.
The night Jesus was crucified, Peter was scared of what might happen to him if the other people found out he was Jesus' disciple.
But I can explain.
We know Peter.
Okay.
Peter was so afraid of what was happening that he denied he even knew Jesus.
I was scared what they might do to me if they knew who I was. Oh, I really, really blew it.
You sure did, but the point is, you never quit. In those tough times, you learned what it means to stand up for Jesus.
Well, I'll do anything, God, you need me to do.
After Jesus rose from the dead and ascended to heaven, all of his followers felt leaderless.
Leader what?
They felt like they didn't have a leader. Peter was the one to take charge. He began leading the people who believed in Jesus. They were the people who made up the brand new Christian church. Peter and the apostles went into the city streets and told everyone they could about Jesus. One day, Peter saw a beggar who couldn't walk. He was begging for money at the city gates.
Hey, buddy, could you spare some small change? I can't walk and I have no money for food.
I'm sorry, I have no cash, but I have something better than money.
Better than money?
Much better. It's something that you can live on forever. By the power of Jesus, you are healed. Get up and walk.
Oh, I think I can feel my legs. Wow, I can even do the mambo!
It was incredible. Through the power of Jesus, Peter performed an amazing miracle. But not everyone was pleased with what Peter had done. The religious leaders didn't believe in Jesus, and when they heard about the miracle, they were not happy.
This is not good. Oh, this is not good. Arrest that Peter. Is that understood?
So Peter was arrested and brought before the religious leaders with the man he had healed.
I do not understand it. I don't understand. You can't just walk, but now you could stand?
Yep, and he can mambo too.
Stop that right now. Stop that dancing, I say, or you shall not live to see one more day.
I'm sorry, I can't do that. Not only has Jesus changed my life, but he has changed this man's life, and so many more. I must tell everyone I can about Jesus.
Word of this amazing miracle had reached thousands and thousands of people who now believed in Jesus. The religious leaders didn't know what to do.
What to do? Oh, what to do?
They didn't know what to do, so they let them go.
You can go. Oh, just go.
Peter left and went right back to the streets, teaching and preaching about Jesus rising from the dead to save the people from their sins. Peter taught them how to love God and live his way. He taught them to pray. Thousands of people heard Peter's words and believed in Jesus. These people were the beginning of the Christian church. But then King Herod heard about Peter and got very mad.
This is not good. Oh, this is not good. Arrest this man, Peter. Is that understood?
Peter was arrested and put in prison, chained to a wall. Guards were posted at his cell the whole time. The people who were part of the brand new Christian church heard what had happened and began to pray. The night before Peter's trial, he was sleeping in his jail cell when suddenly an angel appeared to him.
Peter, hey Peter. Peter, get up. Grab your clothes and follow me.
Whoa, what a crazy dream. I Bye-bye, prison guards. Wait, hey, this isn't a dream. I'm really free. God busted me out of prison. Thank you, God.
Peter went to the house where the believers were praying and knocked on the door. And this concludes our story for this week. You'll need to come back next week and find out what happens next. Thank you to Michaela and Melissa for their help in telling the story. I shared with you my difficulties in making a good crust. If you don't have the right ingredients or the right tools, you're not going to have a very good crust, and it might be a little bit crumbly. Without being sure of what we believe, our foundation can crumble too. Peter immediately believed in Jesus and gave up his life as a fisherman to follow him. What you believe will show your devotion. Your devotion shows by the things that you say. Peter shared his belief in God with others. He told people the truth about Jesus everywhere he went, even if it meant being thrown in prison. What you say to others shows them where your devotion is. If you talk a lot about video games, people will think you're devoted to video games. If you talk a lot about pizza, they'll think you're devoted to pizza. If you talk about God, they know you are devoted to God. People naturally tell others about the things that they're devoted to. Peter also acted on his beliefs. He gathered with the disciples and other Christians. He prayed with them, worshiped, and continued to learn about Jesus. God gave them the ability to heal others and do miracles. And through all these things, more and more people started believing in Jesus, and the church grew. Peter acted on his beliefs no matter what the cost. What you do shows your devotion. It might mean being with friends with someone who's lonely, or even being kind to your brother or sister. Those are things we don't necessarily want to do, but when we do those things, we show that we're devoted to God. So if you're kind to others, you go to church, spend time praying, your actions are showing that you're devoted to God. If there's no crust, there is no pizza. There would be no church if it weren't for Jesus and the devotion of people like Peter. God used Peter and the other apostles as the foundation of the Christian church. Just like Peter, we can help the church grow and continue by being radically devoted in what we believe, what we say, and what we do. So we need to make sure that we've got that good foundation and we can be part of that foundation and continue to build the church. So today we're going to build some stepping stones. So they are solid rock, so a perfect thing for a foundation. So you're going to need to get your pizza boxes and also get some water. So when you open up your boxes, you're going to find all sorts of things, and what you're going to pull out today is you're going to pull out the pie plate, and then you're also going to pull out a bag full of cement. So what you're first going to do is you're going to dump the cement into your pie plate. Now this next part you might want to get a parent to help you with. What you're going to do is you're going to slowly pour water into the plate. So there's a popsicle stick in there to help you stir it around. And so you don't want it to be all soupy and watery, but you need, of course, enough to get it to mix and be wet. So once it's all wet and you can straighten it out and make it nice and smooth with the popsicle stick, and then inside your box there's also a bunch of little red glass stones that you could put in that could maybe kind of look like pepperoni. So you can use your stick to draw like pizza slices, or maybe you want to put your name, whatever you want to do. And then once you've done that, you need to let it sit for a little while. After it's dry, you can peel off the pie plate, and then you will have a stepping stone. So that's the one that I made. I want to see all the ones that you made. So take pictures and post it on Facebook so that we can see your stepping stones.